What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the game news from the last week. And unfortunately, my throat's kind of bothering me today and my voice is kind of slowly starting to give out. So when it comes to the news, we're just gonna kind of be hitting on some of the basic plot points for the week and keeping things somewhat brief, so there won't be too many conversational and opinion pieces in here. I apologize about that. Nonetheless, if there's only a few stories that you're actually interested in hearing about, as always, there will be chapters down in the description, as well as, if you just scroll through there in the time bar, they should show up there. First things first, let's go ahead and go over some of the major game releases from the last week. So March 21st, we have Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land, Bleach, Rebirth of Souls, Urban Jungle, and then on March 20th, we had Assassin's Creed Shadows, Cataclysmo, which is leaving early access, Rendering Ranger R2 Rewind, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Complete Edition, which is now available on more platforms, and Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then on March 18th, we had Rainbreaker. Next up, Jurassic World Evolution 2 is free on Epic Games. This will be free until March 27th at 11 AM EST, so you might as well go redeem it because there's no better price than free. Next up, some new games are coming to Xbox Game Pass. So available now, we have 33 Immortals, which is a game preview, Octopath Traveler 2, which is now available with Game Pass Standard, as well as Train Sim World 5, which is likewise available with Game Pass Standard now, Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island, Blizzard Arcade Collection coming March 25th, Atomfall coming March 27th, and then now available with Game Pass Core are Batman Arkham Knight, Monster Sanctuary, and Tunic. Next up, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 3 was announced. This coming from Focus Entertainment. Quote, "Today we are thrilled to announce that the adventure will continue with Space Marine 3. Players can look forward to an immersive campaign, a multiplayer mode, and innovations that will redefine the standards of third-person action games. Developed in close collaboration with Games Workshop, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 3 will take the genre to new heights by introducing large-scale battles that are even more spectacular." End quote. They do go on to talk about some other things that aren't necessarily relevant to the game, but rather, their ambitions for the game and such. Anybody that plays Space Marine 2 already knows that that game is an absolute blast, literally and figuratively, so I'm very excited to see what they cook up with Space Marine 3. Next up, Silent Hill F was announced. This coming from Gamatsu. Quote, "Silent Hill F will be available for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam, Epic Game Store, and Microsoft Store when it launches, publisher Konami and developer Neobards Entertainment announced. A release date was not announced." And then they have a little section that talks a bit about the game. Quote, "In 1960s Japan, Shimizu Hinako's secluded town of Ebisu Gaoka is consumed by a sudden fog, transforming her home into a haunting nightmare. As the town falls silent and the fog thickens, Hinako must navigate the twisted paths of Ebisu Gaoka. Sorry, I'm still learning Japanese, so it takes me a little bit to read these names sometimes. Solving complex puzzles and confronting grotesque monsters to survive." End quote. You guys are seeing the trailer footage on your screen. This right here is Silent Hill, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited for this game, and I'm a little bummed that we didn't get a release date, but considering the fact that we literally just got Silent Hill 2 Remake, it's alright. We got that Silent Hill fix for now, but man, I am so excited for this new Silent Hill adventure. I cannot wait. Next up, the Croc Legend of the Gobbos Remastered release date was announced. Say that 10 times fast. This coming from Gamatsu. Quote, "The remastered version of 3D platformer Croc Legend of the Gobbos will launch digitally for PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via GOG on April 2nd. Argonaut Games announced. PS5 and Switch physical editions, which are due out in Q2 of 2025, aka between April to July, somewhere in there. Those will be out again Q2 2025, are currently available for pre-order via distributor Rocket Games. I'm really hoping that these physical editions aren't, limited edition. I'm hoping that these will be continued to be printed, or at the very least there will be a decent amount of them that are printed, just so it doesn't become a situation where, okay, this 3D platformer from the PS1, it comes out, some people pre-order the physical edition, but then, it's a game that gets scalped into oblivion, and the only reasonable way to get it when it comes to cost is by, getting it digitally, which is obviously not true ownership. I've said it once, twice, and thrice, I only buy my games physically, so I'm really hoping that this one is able to have enough prints to where it doesn't become a game that is scalped into oblivion and becomes severely overpriced over MSRP. Regardless, Croc is an absolutely amazing 3D platformer and is one of my personal favorites. I'm very excited to see this IP coming back, so I'll definitely be picking this one up day one. Next up, this one's pretty short and sweet, but a Nintendo store in San Francisco has been announced to be opening here soon. This coming from Nintendo.com. Quote, "Nintendo San Francisco will officially open its doors on Thursday, May 15th, 2025. Reservations will be required for entry. Stay tuned for more details." End quote. And I'm serious, that's literally all that's on the page. Like, on their official site, that's literally all there is. So, May 15th, Thursday, another Nintendo store will be opening, which is awesome. I'm hoping they can start to open up some more, like maybe this could sort of become like a GameStop type thing, right? Where you have Nintendo stores just kind of all over the place. Obviously, I don't want them to open up way more than they have to, and then it becomes a situation where they have to close them because they opened up too many, but at the same time, it's Nintendo, so I don't think that would really be an issue at the end of the day. But regardless, I would like there to at least be one in every state, or at least maybe a few in every state, you know, maybe like 2 or 3 per state. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what the closest one to me is, but I know it's not within a few 100-mile vicinity. Next up, Microsoft will soon be adding AI to their Xbox app, but moreover, just their games as a whole. So, this coming from news.xbox.com, quote, Cardar introduced Copilot for Gaming, which Xbox insiders can get an early preview of on mobile soon. This AI-driven sidekick is designed to be your personalized gaming companion, helping you get to your favorite games faster, coaching you to improve your skills, and connecting you better with your friends and communities. Gaming is the only form of entertainment where you can get stuck, said Cardar on the podcast, so that's where you want something to show up to say, let's help you get past that. It's not just about AI showing up to help you, it's about AI showing up at the right moment. Cardar elaborated, we really have to think about the experience we build, it cannot be intrusive. That's why engaging with features like this will be in the control of the player when and if they choose. Player feedback is crucial in this journey. Through the Xbox Insider program, players will soon be able to try it and provide feedback to help shape the product direction. Beginning first on mobile and gradually expanding across devices, this collaborative approach ensures that the AI solutions developed are truly aligned with player needs and preferences and don't disrupt your flow. End quote. So, you know, I've said it before, I really don't think that on the back end of things, right, when it comes to actual video game development, that AI should ever have a place in that. But when it comes to things like this, where the AI is technically still a part of the game, but it's just kind of layered over it and isn't actually integrated into like the game's code or art or anything like that, in this situation, I think it's okay because it's completely external and it's literally there to serve the same purpose as, say, a Let's Play guide or an IGN guide or one thing or another. And while there's certainly a conversation to be had about, like, okay, well, couldn't this AI, in theory, take away views from some of the creators creating Let's Play guides or people creating, like, IGN guides or this, that, or the other? That is definitely a very relevant conversation, and one that I think I could really go back and forth on. When it comes to the sheer convenience, I think that it is much more convenient to the player, but at the same time, again, it does kind of take away from some of those folks that would have been writing the guides initially, and the problem really does come into the fact that the AI is going to be pulling this information. I mean, there's a few ways that it could happen, right? Either the developers program something into the game to where the AI kind of picks up on those signals, and it's like, okay, I need to tell the player to go here and here according to what the developer told me to tell the player. Or the AI may just kind of be scooping from various guides online and videos as is to get its information. So at that point, it's quite literally just stealing from other creators that put that work in order to, you know, kind of guide the player through the experience. So either way, I could really go back and forth on that one, and I could see an argument in either way. It's convenient for the consumer, possibly not so convenient for the people working on the guides. Either way, this still seems like a cool innovation, and I'm curious to see just how it goes in the future. Next up, yet another live service game is shutting down, this being Star Wars Hunters. This coming from StarWarsHunters.com. Quote, Dear Hunters, thank you for your incredible support and for being part of the world of Vespara. After careful consideration, we want to let you know that the final content update for Star Wars Hunters on all platforms will be available on April 15th. The game will remain playable until October 1st, 2025, when the game's online servers will be shut down. We understand this news may be disappointing and want to assure you that this decision was not made lightly. Your passion and dedication to the game and its community have meant the world to us, and we are committed to providing visibility and updates throughout the transition process. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey and for the time you spend playing Star Wars Hunters. End quote. So this is a game that just sort of quietly dropped on mobile and Nintendo Switch, and I didn't see much fanfare for the game, especially because the marketing was kind of non-existent. Like, I saw a few trailers for it, but outside of that, like, there really wasn't much marketing put into it. I don't think it ever came to Xbox or PlayStation, like, not even the PS4 or Xbox One, didn't come to the PS5 or the Series consoles. I don't even know if it was ever officially available on Steam or the PC. It probably was, because if it's available on mobile, there's a way to play it on PC. But still, I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot by not making it available on more platforms and maybe putting a bit more into their, you know, overall marketing. Am I saying this game wouldn't necessarily been the next Marvel Rivals, because this did kind of fall into that hero shooter quote-unquote category? It wasn't the exact same thing. I believe this game's like 3v3 or 4v4 or something like that, so it was a little bit different. But still, this live service market, I'm not saying that live service games shouldn't be made, period, because there's plenty of innovations to be made, and there will always be innovations to be made in any genre of video games, right? No matter how many exist. And just because there's a ton of live service games as is, and it could be, you know, it's really easy to kind of be naive or ignorant and say, okay, we don't need any more more live service games. Live service games garbage, look at all these failing, until you see something like Marvel Rivals. It's not live service games that are the problem, it's the lack of innovation, playing it safe, and just overall, I don't want to say not knowing their audience, but just overall, just being rather misguided when it comes to making these games, right? I'm not even saying that half of these live service games are even bad, because for the most part, they're all actually pretty fun games. Like, you know, Star Wars Hunters, for example, I did dabble in it a little bit when it launched, and it's a fun game. It's just that, again, they could have had more efforts when it came to marketing, getting it on more platforms, or maybe just doing something different with the game in order to reel some more people in, or having other modes available, or going back to what we used to do back in the day, or what we used to see back in the day, like during the 360 and PS3 generation, where we have more games that release with single-player components. Like, for example, Tomb Raider 2013. That was a game where it had an excellent story mode, but it also optionally had a multiplayer mode if you wanted to play it. And just because the multiplayer mode went away didn't mean the story mode went away too, you know what I mean? There will always be a way to play that game. There will always be sales to be had for the developer and the publisher there. So I really think that would be the happy middle ground, right? Like, if they could start making games with at least some sort of single-player component, you know, not some shoehorn single player component, like one with actual thought put into it, whether that be a story mode or just other modes in general, so the game can at least still exist. Because, you know, when a live service game is shut down, it just basically becomes lost media at that point, and considering the fact that video games are an art form, that is actually rather tragic. You know, we're already kind of in a preservation crisis as is when it comes to retro games. We don't need a preservation crisis when it comes to all these other live service games, especially if these games actually had fans, which I know Star Wars Hunters did. You know, I saw dedicated YouTube channels and forums and such online for it. So I feel like it really would be a, you know, happy middle ground of sorts if they could at least start implementing at least some sort of single player component. Again, I'm not saying every single game needs to be single player, that no game should ever be live service. It's just, again, when the live service game shuts down, it becomes lost media, and it's just kind of like, well, you know, that sucks. But regardless, it is disappointing that yet another game is shutting down, especially one tied to such a big IP, but here's hoping that the developers can find other success in the near to distant future. And finally, a new PlayStation studio called Dark Outlaw Games has been announced, and we'll get to why that's so significant. This coming from Gobbos. Quote, Blundell revealed the new studio, yes, Blundell, referring to Jason Blundell, revealed the new studio's establishment on the latest episode of Jeff Gerstmann's bonus podcast. Quote, I've had the amazing opportunity to create a new studio within PlayStation Studios for Sony, Blundell said. The studio is called Dark Outlaw, and so Dark Outlaw Games have been working away in the shadows for a while, and what we've got, and when we've got something to talk about, we'll step out into the light. But you know, the story for me is about the game, not about the studio, so the reason why we're not doing a fanfare or shout out about it from the rooftops is like, let's get something, right? End quote. After that, he does go on to talk about, you know, the fact that it is a relatively small team, that they're keeping things tight-knit, and they're not planning to announce anything until they have something substantial to show off. Now, this is very exciting, because if you don't know Jason Blundell's history, if you're familiar with Deviation Games, which is another studio that unfortunately got shut down a little while ago, he was also a part of founding that studio, but even before that, he was a head at Treyarch for the campaigns in the Call of Duty Black Ops games, as well as the fantastic zombies maps that he was responsible for. Basically everything in Black Ops 3, most of everything in Black Ops 2, or at least like basically half of it, right? Mob of the Dead and Origins, and then also, you know, the maps there in Black Ops 4. So needless to say, you know, if you know anything about the zombies maps or the campaigns or the stories of the Call of Duty Black Ops games, and just, you know, Jason Blundell as a person and how creative that dude's brain is, this is very exciting. I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this, and as soon as we know more about this, I'll definitely let you guys know, because I'm really excited to see what him and his, you know, dev team are cooking up. But yeah, this is really exciting, and I can't wait. But anyways, that is all the stories that I have for you guys this week. Again, I kind of had to just sort of keep things brief this week, just because my voice is kind of starting to give out on me, and I just still feel a little out of it. Just got some things going on with my physical health right now, but I hope to be in better condition soon. Anyway, as always, new episodes of WGC go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I love to have you here. But anyways, that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.